maybe let me do something different. Let me pull someone from a different genre and see what they can potentially do. I'm like, let me reach out to Stunna, right? And the team is like, yeah. Plus, Stunna comes from the hip-hop background. Yes, I mean, he's killing the Yanos game, but he comes from the hip-hop background.
Yeah. Iron is heavy with the pen. Yeah. Stunna boy.
This is the Hustler's Corner.
Global musician, multi-award winner, record label owner, entrepreneur, OG in the game, been at the top for so long. For those who don't know him overseas, if you look at the likes of the Jiggers of this world, and we look at these guys like, how do you get to stay on top for so long? From back in the days of Tear Gas, one of the most successful hip-hop groups of all time in South Africa, and venturing into a solo career that has spanned, I think it's over a decade now. It's probably going for the second decade. #1 song globally, not just in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, hustlers and squatters, welcome to yet another exciting episode. I'm very excited and I'm getting goosebumps because we go way back, me and this brother right here, and I couldn't be happier than to bring you the #1 artist in the world, or the #1 song in the world. For me, he belongs high up there, Pena Boy. He's supposed to be touring the whole world, and I'm glad that that is happening right now. K-Easy.
Except, boy.
Good to see you.
Thank you for that amazing intro as well. Thank you, boy.
Proud of you, bro.
Appreciate it, big bro.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I received. Thank you so much, man. It's a wonderful time. 2022, shortly after COVID and everything else that has transpired. Yeah, COVID, how it just caught everyone off guard, and having the opportunity to recalibrate and find our feet again, and probably even bounce back even much stronger, is just one of the biggest blessings of my life. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored to be on your platform, big dog.
I know how it feels to have a hit song, but I don't know how it feels to have a global hit song, a #1 song worldwide. Your song is still #1 even now.
Yes, sir.
I've got friends who are playing it in London. I've got friends who are playing it in Dubai, in New York, in LA. How does that feel, bro? I can imagine being you right now. How does it? And I'm sure it's not just a feeling, because we're from COVID and you've been in the game,
yes,
and to eventually get a global hits, bro.
I'll preface that with this. I mean, me and you, obviously being veterans in the game, when this moment happens after you've felt it a little bit before, it's not as like mind-blowing because it's not the first time per se, right?
Yes.
So yes, you are aware of what's going on, but it's not hitting you like a rookie. Now you start like losing your mind and like start, you don't pitch up for interviews. No. To me, it's just another day. But in the back of my mind, I am grateful, humbled, just merely by the fact that, 17 years in the game, there's still an appetite for what I have to offer. I mean, we are unfortunately dealing with a culture that is very hard on familiar faces, if I may put it that way, right? And there's also ageism and all kind of things, right? So when you get to a point where, like, even later, at a later stage of your career, and you still have a #1 song, to me, it's not only just about me, it's the legacy that I'm trying to paint. And, to everyone that is watching, aspiring artists and everyone else that are coming up, to say, it doesn't matter. Like, God will actually show up at any time. You just need to be prepared. You just need to be ready, So all these years, cool, some people will sit there and say, yeah, but the last time we saw anything happening around KO was Karakara, and granted, but I've had a great life, even in between. I don't live out my life on social media, So even when this moment happens, it's like, okay, cool. This is what I've been preparing for, the entire time. I'm just honored and happy that it's actually playing out. I feel like the people are only catching up to what to my capabilities. I know, I've always knew, and The real ones always know. I'm sure kings know kings, right?
Of course.
So
we've always known, but it's always been that thing, Yoguti.
young tall.
I'm glad that now finally you're getting the respect that
Yes,
you
sir.
and because not only just the numbers.
Yes,
in
sir.
terms of people who really, really respect good art
Yes, sir.
and brilliant, talented musicians.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad that finally the whole world,
Yeah.
and when I mean the whole world, even the bigger masters of South Africa,
Yes, sir.
will
Yeah.
finally get to really appreciate your amazing artistry.
I appreciate it. I think to me, that's just the main thing. It's just like, okay, cool. I always knew my gift. It's just, sorry, it's an honor when you see it playing out in real time and then people actually start seeing it. Okay, cool, this guy is actually one of the greats. So that's to me first prize right now.
Not one off. Stop putting that one off. Easy is always humble. So I remember I had a chat with Zakes when the Kunye mix had just happened. And Osama was like starting to buzz.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, Matala kipalengo. Zakes is like, yeah, no, but mele kipalengo. And then the conversations we're having, you know, even when at some point Zakes Bantwini would get so emotional and be like, Subu Mganwam, you know, just the greatness of God on how he will show up
Yep.
when everybody has either turned their backs on you or when everybody thinks your chapter is finished.
Yes, sir.
Or when you know, just the greatness of God and he just shows up at his time and his time is always the best time.
Yep. I always believe in that, and I think that has just always been the fuel in my tank because, dude. So for those who don't know, to your audience, I come from a shanty town called Pichutif in Mpumalanga, you know, and I came up to Joburg back in the day solely for the purpose of music. And for me, looking back, Uguti, I was able to come in here pursuing that dream. Now I've managed to buy houses in some of the best neighborhoods in Joburg, you know what I mean? And live my dream life, so to speak. Have the nicest cars, have, you know, some of the nicest things that I've always wanted as a kid. And I come from such a small town. I always know, Uguti, anything that I put my mind to, God will show up for me. So even at the darkest time, I'm one person who tries, and this is one of the things maybe my team hates about me. I don't panic. I don't ever panic.
Triple C, cool, come and collect it.
You feel me?
Yeah.
I don't panic because I just always know, Gucci, it's okay, cool. In real time, this is what it looks like, but I have an obsession with tomorrow because tomorrow anything can happen. You know, it might not look like today. So I always live by virtue of Gucci. Nyazi kusasa uNkulunkulu will probably turn things around, and it has always just given me that persistence and the resilience. Let me continue doing what I do and just not and block out the noise because tomorrow anything can happen. So I think that has allowed me to actually even see this day just based on the fact that it doesn't matter. Cool, maybe if you thought 2014 was the only moment, guess what? When 2022 happens and another moment happens, it's gonna feel like, oh shit, I wasn't aware.
And
but
it's happening bigger now.
that's even the craziest part about it. So it's an honor, big dog. It's an honor.
Talking about it happening bigger, and it's a beautiful lesson for all of us hustlers out there and entrepreneurs, and for all of us that have been pushing and pushing. You feel like God is not coming through. You're pushing, you even get tempted to give up, but there's no giving up here. You know you're already in too deep. There's no going back. There's no turning back. And then you hear such stories, and you hear about Zakes' stories, and then, you know what I mean? Those are the types of stories that keep us going. But you know what? Like my opportunity, I always say to people, the person who won the lotto, they didn't win the lotto the day before. They didn't know the day before what they were going. The person who becomes successful, the day before it happened, they didn't know. So keep going, you know? Keep going, just keep going. So when I say it's happening at the highest level for you, let's get into, before we get into the entire career, let's talk about the song now. By the way, for those who don't know, he's got the #1 song. It's on the top 100 biggest Shazam song all over the world. For the past couple of weeks, it's been the #1 song globally. And It's an Afrobeat song, and you're a hip hop artist, and it features.
Yeah.
Big up for those two young men. I love Blxckie, I love Young Stunna,
Yep.
and just the choice to go for those guys and the choice to jump on an Afrobeat song.
Yeah.
I want you to give us or paint us a picture on how it all happened, because one would assume you guys would either get into an Amapiano beat or you'd jump into a local hip hop beat.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't see this one coming, to tell you the
Yeah.
truth.
So initially, there was a beat that I picked for. There's another track that I have on my album called Demon, featuring a young artist from Nigeria who's doing amazing things right now. He's probably going to be the next big thing. He's already doing crazy numbers. His name is Ruga. So he was in the country earlier this year. So, I got a call that I need to pull up at the studio. Boom, boom, boom. He wanted to link up. So I didn't have a track that I was ready, to pull for us to work on. So that night I actually sat and reached out to a gang of producers, locally and internationally, for a solid 12 hours straight, trying to find a beat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then eventually I found the SETE beat. So the next day I go to the session. I played him the SETE beat, and azange imkhuthaze the way, yabo.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. And then we ended up making another track, obviously, which became Demon. So, and then in the back of my mind, I'm like, nah, I'm not walking away from this beat because there's just something that is calling me on this particular track. So I went and I recorded my part. So I'm thinking, okay, cool, so who do I get? Started thinking, let me get the typical vocalist, let me get a Shava, let me get a Shasha, those people. And then I'm like, maybe let me do something different. Let me pull someone from a different genre and see what they can potentially do. I'm like, let me reach out to Stunna, right? And the team is like, yeah. Plus Stunna comes from the hip-hop background. Yes, he's killing the Yanos game, but he comes from the hip-hop background.
Yeah. And he's heavy with the pen. Yeah. Stunna boy.
I
Khurban lek ngano la.
Thank you. So, and I simply just my short-sightedness. I actually reached out and just asked for a chorus. That's all I was asking for. Intuana was so excited. He sends me a chorus and a verse.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not complaining. I'm like, okay, cool, fire, yabo. And then I'm
it's
like,
fire. And
oh,
it's fire.
I'm
it's
like,
fire. It's fire.
okay, so
fire.
send me that, and I'm like, okay, cool. Come to the studio. Let's finalize it. So I had him do the intro before my verse. I had him do the bridge after the third verse.
Yeah, with the saxes.
Yes,
With the saxophones in the background. Yeah.
And then, but cool. Now I have the track kind of ready to go, and I'm like, okay, what else can I do? So I asked the guys. I'm like, they're like, no, the song is done. I'm like, yeah, I know it is, but I think I just want to go crazy. Let me add someone else, right? And then I reached out to Blxckie. I pull up on Blxckie. Blxckie just knocks out that verse real quick. And then, boom, we have a classic. So that's just how everything played out. And I'm happy that, it was meant for someone else. What I wanted Ruga on the track. But what God said I needed these young men on the track. Because it made it, yes, cool. It has the Afrobeats element to it. But it's actually a South African song now, because that's how we took it and we owned it, and we created a whole new aesthetic for, for actually fellow artists in the country. So if you guys, want to jump on that wave, you're more than welcome. This is not just a moment for KO. I think there could be something that we could be building with that wave. So everyone wants to hop on that wave, you're more than welcome.
I really do think, and I love what's happening with Afrobeats all over the world and what's happening right now with the Yano,
Yeah.
But I also love the fact that you guys are South Africans and you went for an Afrobeats track.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Just
sir.
like our brothers and sisters north of the continent that be messing around with the
With
Yanos.
Yanos.
And that's nice.
Yeah.
You're seeing Africans do this thing.
Yes, sir.
And the whole world appreciating it,
It's
right?
an amazing exchange.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing, bro.
Yeah.
Did you know that it's got potential to become a global track because it's an Afrobeat song?
Yeah. One thing I can tell you, and you know this, right? As an artist, Makshuti Kona le oi pete, the one that you think is actually gonna go, like you know it in your heart before it even goes out. Like even when you sell it when you pitch it to your team, you don't even have to sell it like crazy hard, because you just get to them and you actually instruct them. You're like, okay, cool, we're gonna do this, and everyone just co-signs it. And then you have the other tracks where you're like, okay, so ngicabanga ukuthi SETE, and then you get like 50% of the room saying, yeah, okay, I see Zama boy, yeah, boss born. But the one that you know 100% could like, let's showcase.
Yeah.
You don't even have to sell it. You just instruct them, and then everyone just like follows suit. So that's how I felt about this one. I'm like the same way I felt about the Karakara. I was actually speaking about it to the team. I'm like, this is the one that's gonna take us to the next level, right? Before it even came out, and they're like, okay, cool, we receive. But they also take things with a pinch of salt, because having been in the game, been around me so many times, I don't really say that a lot about songs. But when I say it on a particular song, they do believe. But we are all jaded at the same time. Having been in the game, sometimes you think there's a moment that is coming, and then you don't see it actually playing out. So we were just like, some of them were just like, okay, cool, maybe this could be it, but we don't know. And then when it actually happens, and then they see it in real time, it's like, oh shit, this is actually happening. So to me, I knew what the potential, but I didn't know the magnitude. I didn't, the magnitude of the song, which it's gonna end up being in, on the global radar, where people are just like streaming it crazy from all over the world. I mean, someone just sent me a video. It was playing in the club in Dubai. I didn't know that was going to happen. You know what I mean? So I just believe it would see.
At some point, it was bigger than God did in terms of
numbers. Like, bro, I promise you, these things, when you see them happening, you don't even know. I don't have an explanation. Like, dude, it's hardly been a month, and we're sitting on 7 million views on YouTube. The song has been #1 on Spotify and Apple Music ever since it came out. All these songs came out about God did, and we were the only song to dethrone Ilasla Siaka Burna Boy. Like, that's insane.
That's insane, bro.
That's insane. And and when he came to the country just a week ago, so we thought, okay, cool. Obviously, he's back. He's here, and then it's gonna move the track, dude. Like we just kept him at #2, bro.
Wow.
We kept him, and we just stayed at #1. So I can't explain it. There's no magic. I mean, we even went as far as to becoming the most viral song on TikTok without a challenge.
Sure, bro.
Do you understand? Like, all these things, I did not premeditate or like expect them to play out the way that they did. But Nkulunkulu has his own way of, of unveiling things, and it's just beautiful.
And if you're somebody else, you would have focused on the beef response to
Oh
Big
yeah,
Zulu.
yeah. So, sorry to cut you. So the song comes out, and then later on that day, Big Zulu drops a diss track.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. And then I tell the guys, I'm like, actually, I want to respond. Oh, you should have seen the panic in my team.
Yeah.
Tulu and all these niggas, like, don't do it, because you have something so great that's about to take off in SETE. Why would you want to derail that train by now entertaining this mess with the beef?
Yeah.
So I'm like, gents.
And the fans want the response.
Exactly. Cool. They see the SETE thing, right?
Yeah.
But they want the response, So, and honestly, I didn't feel like the song and the diss track itself inspired me enough to want to respond, right? I didn't. But because of the conversation on the socials, I'm like, oh, okay, so they thinking I'm to play with.
Yeah.
Yabo?
Well, like, it's
okay, it's all right. I know. It's fine. It's fine. I know my focus is this song, but let me just njengiti kancane, yabo? And then, boom, 48 hours later, I dropped the response, and obviously it snowballed into something else,
And the response also is like, but you called it a freestyle. And then when you called it a freestyle, I'm like, how? If I was him, I'd also be focusing on. But then for me, that's when I started butting going through your YouTube,
yeah.
checking out your other singles that you've been dropping.
Yes, sir.
And I'm like, oh, KO's been busy, Mustan.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, he even dropped SETE before the diss track.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yes, sir.
But then you focused on SETE because you knew what you had.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
congratulations for doing that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, and that was my main focus. And I know the team panicked, but I told them, I'm like, trust the process. I know you guys know me as someone who's nonchalant and who doesn't flinch, but this moment actually calls for a reaction, you know? And the reaction, I didn't think I was actually using that moment to trigger attention back to SETE, because I've never been that type of person who wants to use clout. Yabo, okay, listen, I'm not getting the eyeballs that I'm looking for in one area of my career, so let me resort to clout. I just felt like as a man, and another man called me out, let me just do what I need to do, take care of business. But yes, I know my focus is this. So it was on the strength of that. So like you were saying earlier off camera, Guti, you were also one of the people that went to check out this track, and then you fell on SETE. Yeah. I think the big surge that I saw with the numbers,
then you dropped the
response.
Album. Then the other singles came.
Yes, sir. So the response obviously turned out to be a blessing, because it ended up now being the catalyst to everything else on the catalog and everything that I was doing. So I'm appreciative of. That's why I even respect Big Zulu for the moment, because he didn't just do that for himself. He was doing it for the entire game. Cool. I mean, the responses came really like by the tons. About Duncan and Questa and everyone went crazy. He actually turned himself into a sacrificial lamb at the end of the day. But what he did was something very pivotal, just to turn the tide within the game. And then now for the smartest people in the space, if you have a bullet in the chamber, in the midst of this whole chaos and the noise, you have to pull the trigger now, because the game and the audience is willing to eat anything up that comes from hip hop. So if you have a rocket in the chamber, please make sure that you pull it out right now, because we are ready to feast up as the audience.
Ngengishifta kancane ku-throne yami ngene esiqukwini ngodiscipline one of my peasants. Bese ngiyabuya rightfully so to the throne that I deserve.
Yes, sir.
I'm so happy, because for me it's the same thing that happens with all of us, with all of our lives, you know, as we push in this journey. People go through so much, and all of us, we're from so much. I'm also from so much, you know. I also lost so much during COVID-19. A lot of people, sadly, they even lost their lives, you know. And to come back with this type of a bang, it happened to Zakes last year as well. I was saying that
Shout
to
out
him
to my
as well.
guy.
Yeah,
Shout out
Mr.
to my
Bantwini.
guy. He reached out to me. Even his wife reached out. I mean, they are a beautiful family. They're family to me as well. Just expressing just happiness, yeah, because, I mean, I remember when we started off as TGS in 06, Zakes and El Volvo, we encountered them because they also started that year.
Oh, yeah, they also started 06.
Yeah, you know. So we have always just cheered for one another over the years, because we actually of the same school. So when I saw the moment Ekasi last year, it was, oh shit, my bad. It was like, oh shucks, so my guy is actually like, and he's an OG, and he's got one. So when it happens to me this year, so we was just as happy. So
and you didn't know last year, go to next year is again. And that's the thing with God, right? When He blesses others, celebrate them.
Yeah.
Because your moment is just around the corner. You know?
That's the thing, bro. Like, I think a lot of us, this crabs in a barrel mentality as abotaki. That's just the one thing, unfortunately, that has held us back in so many ways, because the toughest time that we endure as successful people is when you become successful, because gravity in this instance ends up being the naysayers, the people that actually say, no, I mean, why is he supposed to be now like, this person, this God? So I need to bring him back to my level, because I didn't turn out to be anything. Yabo? So that's the gravity, unfortunately, that you end up dealing with. So seeing someone else succeed and you open your heart and be like, okay, cool, that is happening to him. That means it can happen to me. So let me be happy for that moment, for my own personal karma, so that when the time comes, Nami, I can be celebrated just the same, you know? So that's why I've always just opened my heart when I watch other people succeed. I'm like, that's amazing. Let me cheer for you, because I know when the tables turn, you're probably gonna cheer for me too. So that's just the mentality that we need to adopt as Abotaki, instead of, being negative all the time.
I was speaking to Sister Ndiswa Mazwai. We're interviewing her with Root Boy Paul. Guys, check it out. By the way, we've got a brand new show. It drops on Thursdays at 12 o'clock. It's actually Paul's podcast. We've just collaborated, and it's called The House of Sankofa. Our first guest was Sister Ndiswa Mazwai, and I was saying to her, for me, she's one of the few people, and that's you also, and Bugalav, the likes of Beyonce. It's not a lot of people all over the world that come from a successful group that becomes highly successful. And then they branch out to solo careers. And then they also have successful careers for the longest time.
Crazy.
It's not an easy thing to do, bro, what you've done, bro.
Heavy is the crown.
And to still be going on in 2022 to be having a global hit, it's not an easy thing, bro.
Just blessings. And I think, to me, I look up to all those people that you just mentioned, especially Upuga, the trials and tribulations, him evolving. I remember I was still in varsity when he came out saying, okay, so ladies and gents, unfortunately, I just want to declare to the people that I partook in substances. And then here I am, turning a whole new page and becoming, the person that I'm becoming now. And then we saw that evolution. He started going to the gym and all these things. And then, obviously became a very spiritual person. But the career just went to a whole new level, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I remember a second year as tear gas. This was 2007. We had just had a great moment with Chance and everything, right? So 2007, but I still felt like nothing has changed, we are still like, I still can't send money to my family, to the old lady, engineer, to get things done, renovations, and all these things that I always wanted to do as a kid. Why? And then that actually even drove me to a point where, just doing some introspection, I'm like, okay, so why do I have to drink alcohol? You feel me? Because I feel like alcohol is there for like celebration, or like even partaking in like all kinds of crazy, the superficial things, chasing girls. And these are things that are meant for celebration. But what am I celebrating? Because nothing has really changed in my life, And that's why I made the decision to actually quit alcohol, period.
Oh, you don't drink?
No, I haven't drank since 2008.
Nice.
You feel me? And not because I was an alcoholic. I just felt like it wasn't serving me in any way. And I don't drink, I don't smoke.
Oh, that's why you look 21. I know. It's better,
You feel me? So, I took that decision, and it allowed me to actually see things for what they really are. I became a better artist, became a better person, I believe. I started looking a lot better than I did back in the day, taking care of myself just physically and all those kind of things. And I think one of the reasons why I'm actually still sitting here having this conversation with you about what is happening now is because of that one decision that I took, because it allowed me to actually just focus. I'm not taking anything away from other people who partake in other things, but I just feel like I wouldn't have seen I wouldn't have been cognizant of the need to stay on top of my game for as long as I have. Because, when you get to your late 30s, sometimes naturally you become a lot more lethargic and you jaded. You've seen so many things happening, and it's easy for you to give up on yourself. It's easy to give up on your dream because you're just thinking, okay, so these people actually abang fatil, yabo. So they calling me a has-been already. Maybe I am a has-been. You start succumbing to all this social noise. You know what I mean? So to me, it has allowed me, Gucci, even when the noise is happening, I still remain focused on my path and on my journey, and without being derailed by anything that I hear on the sidewalk. And I'm here because of that. So I encourage anyone out there, if there are things that are derailing you, whether it's chasing girls or whatever it is, or whatever addiction that you might be dealing with, if you know for a fact that it's taking you away from your purpose, it's never too late for you to hop off the train and just like really just focus on yourself and really look at life for what it really is, and it will help you go a long way. I promise you that.
That is so beautiful, man. I'm so proud of you, bro, to have stopped alcohol at that time and to have focused. Same thing happened to me, because we're doing same this. Oh, it's shows, it's people who are always drunk at gigs, we're DJing, traveling long distances, etc. And you know, I also just wanted to evolve. I wanted to get into business. My daughter was born. I wanted to go build businesses. I wanted to go become a businessman. I wanted, you know, to see other things that life had to offer. But coming back to you, I want to talk about so much. I want to talk about the industry. I want to talk about so many things.
Yeah.
But I want to do that on the next interview. On this interview, I don't want us to take away from the album. Yes, we've just spoken about SETE.
Yeah.
But I want us to talk about the album.
Yes, sir.
And then this is this interview. And then from there we'll have... And I like the fact that when we have another interview, the success would be even bigger, because you'll be a global artist and it's even difficult to get a hold of you. So let's talk about the rest of the album.
Yes, sir.
And then you got your gold and then platinum plat, and then the album drops.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I was working on the album, I think, since 2020. I remember the first song that so I had a terrible run-in with COVID, bro. First wave.
Did you get it?
Bro, like,
Unamanga.
I literally, the one night, and I was alone in the house. The one night, my brother calls me. He lives in the same estate as me, thank God. And he heard my voice on the phone. I could hardly speak, right? So I actually had caught the virus with my business partner, Utsulu, and he stays at his own spot. So, and this is early days. So my girlfriend is a doctor, right? And everyone is just, we don't know how to handle this whole situation. So she's worried about work. So she couldn't even come to the house because she's thinking, oh my God, what if I encounter this thing and then I also, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, dude, now here I am in that freaking house, big house all by myself and my puppy, right? It was the scariest thing.
And it was the early days, ne?
Yeah.
Because then we didn't know what to expect.
Exactly.
We didn't know what this thing is. I can imagine how scared you were.
You know what I mean? So, and then my brother says, bro, he calls my business partner, is like, bro, I know you also have the thing, but I think because both of you guys are positive, that man is struck, because with him it was much lighter. He says, dude, that guy is actually struggling out there. If you have it in you, please just go look after that man in that house, because he's gonna die in there. And selflessly, my business partner says, okay, cool. And this is him just cold turkey saying, okay, cool, I'm almost on my way out of self-isolation, but cool, I'll go and take care of this guy. And that's brotherhood. That's brotherhood on 100. So I respect that from him. So he came the one night, dude, I asked him to watch me sleep, because I think I might not make it to the morning. This is August, right in the middle of winter, load shedding. I'm freezing. I had like 4 blankets and a jacket on top, a bomber jacket in bed. And I asked him, just sit next to me with a blanket, bro, and just watch and observe my breathing. If uzangathi ngiyathula, just shake me up. He had to stay up the entire night, and I told him, all I just want to see sunrise. He stayed up. I think I only passed out because now I was trying to stay up because I just felt like if I sleep, I might die in my sleep. So I tried to stay up as much as I could, but I eventually passed out, I think maybe like 2:30 in the morning. And then the next thing I knew, it was 5:30. And I started hearing the birds chirping. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going outside right now, bro. You know what I mean? Sure. Went out, stayed out there until sunrise, busting it, and I just said a long prayer, bro, because that's how scary it was, right? So, fast forward. So shortly coming out of that scary moment, the first song I recorded was Mission Statement 3, the one that is on this album, right? And I wanted to put it out that year, but because of COVID, I'm thinking, and I'm watching Big Zulu. He had an amazing moment with Imali. So I'm like, damn, I wouldn't want to be cool. I mean, this is amazing for Big Zulu having such a great moment, but we are on lockdown. Imagine you had your remember, and it's lockdown. We're sitting in the house. It would have broke your heart. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, cool. Let me actually wait until maybe the world. Hopefully, God will keep me around long enough, for me to see the other side of this pandemic. So I waited. And then with the album, I postponed it to 2021. And I still felt like 2021, we were still half.
Oh, so this album was already long done.
Not entirely. So the bulk of it was done. But I think the delay from 2020 all the way till now, it allowed me to update the sound. So like what they said there was a couple months ago. We made that a couple months ago. So if I had put out the album in 2020, we wouldn't have had it SETE. Do you understand? So it's all God just playing, his role and whatnot, and making his magic happen. So the delay and everything else just allowed for me to update and add new songs and have different collaborations, come about. And then we ended up with this beautiful piece that we have. So that's how the entire body of work came together. And I'm grateful. Even some of the collaborations. I mean, I have a track there with, of course, a song called Fezeka with Babi Cooper and Zuma from Amapiano and Sarkodie all the way from Ghana. I met Sarkodie earlier this year. He was in the country as well. He reached out to me and said, yo, let's link up. And we linked up. It was my first time meeting him. Dope energy. And then we were like, actually, we needed a track together. And then I sent him this song, and then he fell in love with it. And then he sent me the verse back. And of course, Babi Cooper is a dope Amapiano sensation right now as well. The same goes for Zuma, Maroto. They're killing it. And I'm just happy with SETE and Fezeka, those two songs. When people saw the track list, they're like, okay, all those niggas album Amapiano. You know what I mean? And then when the album comes out and when they hear the songs, they're like, oh, shucks. So this guy actually went and pulled these guys from their comfort zone and actually made them comfortable with being uncomfortable on this aesthetic.
And now you are risking.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Because that's not your...
Yes, sir. And I just love the fact that it all just came organically together, and everyone was had the opportunity to showcase versatility, on these tracks that we collaborated on, and it just turned out to be this beautiful product that we have in SR3.
And is it Amo or is it Msaki?
Msaki.
It's Msaki.
Yeah. A song called Owami.
My man.
That's one of my favorite songs on the album.
And big up for collaborating with the sister. I'm a big fan of hers.
She's amazing. amazing spirit as well to work with. She came to the studio. She tried something, and then we were like, nah, let's try something else. Like, dude, the reason I'm mentioning that is because as artists, we are sensitive creatures, right? So, umuntu yakbiza artists wakala and then you get there and they tell you, no, this is not good enough. Let's try something else. A lot of people in our space are egomaniacs, bro. So, so the ego gets in the way of greatness, sometimes. But if you are able to actually be comfortable enough to say, okay, let me follow what Sbu is saying, because, I mean, especially being the fact that he's been in the game longer than me. So if he says something, there could be some currency in there that I need to, tap into. Let me just follow his lead and see where we land. Just by virtue of doing something as simple as that, greatness gets unleashed. And I saw that happening with young Stunna. I saw that happening with Blxckie. I saw that happening with Umsaki. And I'm just, even about Zuma, I made these people work harder than they actually ever worked. Even Babi Cooper. People didn't even know Babi Cooper can actually sing like that.
Yeah.
And then she came in.
I didn't also.
Exactly. And she came in and she just killed it. I brought her in for 2 sessions, and she was just humble, and she just did what she needed to do. And hey, man, I'm just honored with all these people that actually came aboard.
Now, I know how it is to have a hit in October, right? It means nothing has started yet. Are you ready, though?
I believe I am. I mean, I'm already super busy. Like the shows. I mean, you know this very well. Like at the peak of, I think cool. Yes, maybe this could be the peak, but like you're saying, it's only October, bro.
No, it's not. It's not the
Right.
peak. It's the beginning.
Because says with December, so we don't even know how that looks like, But I'm already, I am super swamped every week. And actually almost every day of the week, there's something that I need to do, booking or go do something. You know what I mean? So the schedule is already looking crazy. I think I expected that. Obviously, for me, what I'm ready for and what I'm consciously now tapping into and watching our Blxckie and all these amazing things that they have done globally, and watching my fellow brothers and sisters out there, especially in West Africa. I'm ready for my moment to start like really traveling, just doing global stuff, and actually really activating my brand. Like you were saying, some of us belong to be on those same stages as those people. So that's, to me, that's the main goal, and I know I'm on the brink of it, and it's about to happen. So that's what I'm mainly excited about.
It's happening. It's already happening. You
Yes,
got a track that's charting globally, and for me, a lot of artists where they mess it up is not seeing that moment, or maybe some of them seeing it but not following through.
Yeah.
And thinking it's gonna last. They always say, even in entrepreneurship, the window of opportunity might not be too long.
Yep.
It might just be small. You never know.
Yep.
So while there is time, go for it. And
Yep.
I said the same thing to Zakes last year when Osama was happening and when he dropped the album. I was like, finally, bro, I've always felt you belong to the world.
Yeah.
And if you don't go to the world right now, me myself ngizokufaka uswazi.
Yeah.
And me myself ngizokubhayela ithikithi ngivaya.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even with you,
Yes, sir.
that's
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
expecting to see you 2023. I'm expecting you to see to see you do collaborations with all the rest of the other guys in the continent.
Yes, sir.
I'm expecting to see you do global tours.
Yes,
I'm expecting to see you also start getting yourself outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And go be a Trevor now, go be a Blxckie,
Yeah.
go be a Sarkodie, go be a Davido, a
Yeah.
Burna Boy, etc.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that that's in the plans.
I receive, bro. Because I think the saddest thing about us as South Africans, and I mean, again, I'm glad I'm talking to you, because we are fully aware of the country that we live in, and our fellow brothers and sisters. We haven't traveled as much,
So I'm up in a plus.
Blind.
And they say, Papa.
Do you understand me? Like,
Yo.
because we're just thinking, oh no, I mean, the country is better than a lot of the other countries in the continent, which is now starting to become, unfortunately, false.
I think we're starting to see.
Exactly.
And I'm glad our Nigerian brothers and sisters and from other countries also, they're showing us.
Yeah.
Because there was a point, even in the music industry,
Yeah.
where we felt we better. And South Africans have just always had that thing, they're better than other countries.
Yeah.
And we're not.
Yeah,
and
no.
I'm glad that other countries are showing us
Yes,
that we
sir.
are not.
They're
We
humbling
are
us.
actually sleeping.
Yep, exactly. So, I mean, when you watch some of the things that are happening in Rwanda is just turning into the Singapore of this country, bro. How that guy is actually turning that entire country around, bro.
Yes.
Come on, dog.
Yeah.
So, and also, like the fact that like the South African diaspora is not as obviously big as the Nigerian diaspora in the world on a global scale. So, I'm fortunate, to have seen the need to maybe, let me piggyback, and this is not me trying to be a culture vulture or anything. We were talking about the exchange again earlier, that, you have your West African brothers who are tapping into the Yanos thing because they're seeing what he's doing. So there's no shame in us also tapping into what they're doing. I'm seeing what Afrobeats is doing in the world. So I'm thinking, let me piggyback on that. If that becomes my gateway into getting to the diaspora out there, whether I tap into the Nigerian diaspora, it allows for me to build from there, because as much as you have like a Blxckie who is doing what he's doing, and it is not of, I mean, like I was saying, the South African diaspora is not that big in the world, but the fact that he was able to create what he created and he still went out there and became a global servant of the culture, it doesn't matter now where he comes from. The fact that he's on that stage, he's got all the eyeballs that he needs, and he's just serving those people.
Rhymes the other day in the studio.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you go, boy. You go, boy.
Exactly. So with me, I feel like if this is my outlet to get in through and have Afrobeats as my catalyst to take me to being my portal to the next dimension, so be it. So we all need to just figure out our way out of within these borders of South Africa, not because we don't love our country, but there is just much more greater things that await us out there in the world that we need to tap into.
So I'm looking forward to us talking about the industry, talking about tear gas, talking about cash time, talking about the family, the kids, and just also the music industry, the monetary side. How do people make money in this business? And all those things. I want us to have a 2-hour chat.
Yes, sir.
But right now, I just wanted us to have this short one and amplify the success of SETE and amplify the album. So that they're going to come back for more. And I'm so proud of you, my brother. I love you and congratulations. Go out there and shine. Go to the top where you belong.
Brother, I appreciate and I receive everything. I reciprocate the energy, because when I see you do things out there, you know what I mean? When I see the platform, when I see the radio station, when I see you opening doors for other artists, dude, like you obviously know, Uguti, one of the reasons why I became a label executive was from observing what you guys were doing with TS. That whole science inspired me to want to become someone who can actually create opportunities for other artists as well. So, and just seeing just the business savvy and how you guys actually understood, Uguti, if this is how our South African audience actually functions, because you guys figured out the marketing. How do you appeal to your fellow brothers and sisters so that you can actually be a servant that can render a service that appeals to their needs in the form of music and entertainment? And then you figured it out and you became successful off that. So with us overhauling the entire hip-hop system and saying, no, actually, we need a song like a Karakara and that sound, and we need a song like a SETE. I pull from watching you guys, So it's important for some of the younger guys, without preaching too much, some of the younger guys, observe your predecessors, Don't only watch their wins, watch their failures as well, because it allows you to avoid the pitfalls, so that your success rate is a lot higher compared to them, because we didn't have any reference points, You guys went into it cold turkey, and did the things that you did. Cool, yes, you had the Mosquitoes, but you guys were competing against Kalawa, you know what I mean? So for some of us, when we came in as Cash Time and Teargas, we were actually competing with TS, because you guys had Pro and all that stuff, you know what I mean? So it wasn't necessarily a thing of we were sitting there and actually studying you guys. We were going against what was currently happening, you know what I mean? So even now, with some of us, so now a lot of the guys that are coming in, they now have a reference point in a TS Records, a Kalawa, a Cash Time. So study the wins, study the shortcomings, and it will allow for you to have a much higher success rate compared to us. So
I
thank
like
you.
what you've just said. So on the next interview, when we come back, I also want you to be also transparent about your vulnerabilities.
Yes, sir.
I want you to be transparent about the failures, the mistakes that, things that you think you could have done better. I'm always open about my journey. People know, I lost stuff. I started again. I always tell them,
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need to share for Intwana Zethu.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So when you come back, I also want us to focus on the failures. But the last thing I want to say is, big up, man, for Gob's still there, Tsulu's still there, my E is still there with you, and you're celebrating together. Your day ones are still there.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I'm like, wow, like you guys in Sabambene ngezandla.
Yeah.
And then show nabantu abadala abazali benu basho bambananani bantwana
Yeah,
bethu,
yeah,
you know?
it's-
And I'm glad you guys in Sabambene namanje, through thick and thin, you guys have gone through everything together till today, even when there's success.
Yeah, I mean, you know the game, Gashe, now, because a lot of times when you're starting out, you have like a big entourage around you, young tall. But the more you grow in the space, you start filtering and just like realize the core people that you need. And then the next thing you know, now you are this multi-millionaire guy, and then you just have like 3 friends, young tall. When you actually have more to share now, but you have less people around you, because it allows for you to just stay sane and stay grounded, because those people don't actually even, they are not yes men. You know, they tell you, they know how to check you, yabo. So those are the people that you need, who are transparent and who know when to cheer when you're actually doing right as well. So that's the reason why I still have my brothers, and I'm grateful for them and all the contributions, the opinions, and the sleepless nights and stuff like that. So it's a blessing. I just want to continue growing and sharing the love and sharing my blessings with everyone that is around me, so they can pass them on to their families as well.
Tsulu, love you, bro. Thank you for looking after this brother, and thank you for looking after each other. Yeah, it's good sissies you know? We're all starting to get a little bit gray, you know? And you guys are still here.
Yes, sir.
Nibambeni kanjalo bafethu.
Bless.
Ngiyakuncanywa, boy, ne?
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank
Congrats with everything.
you. Prince.
Go to the world and shine. It's your time.
Dabo!
See you guys on the next video.
This is the Hustler's Corner.